I notice we are kind of in a new boom period for arcade-style retro beat-em-ups. Some might even say we're getting a little too many. Whatever your opinion on that may be, one thing is certain. If .mu's name is attached to it, and or tribute games, there is nothing to be worried about, as we now have Marvel Cosmic Invasion, the newest of these games developed by Tribute Games, the developer of TMNT Shredder's Revenge, and published by .mu, who also published TMNT, as well as other games like Streets of Rage 4 and this year's Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So in other words, I kinda love them, and Marvel Cosmic Invasion sits comfortably among those other titles as a certified banger. Let's talk about it. Hi guys, MiiKcast here reviewing today Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Now before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell, leave a comment, or I will infect you with insects.
Gotcha. This is my kind of party.
Starting off with the good, Marvel Cosmic Invasion is a goddamn blast. First up, the gameplay. It is what you'd expect. What you see here is pretty much what you get, but who said I'm complaining? I mostly don't really need to explain the gameplay too much because, again, it is pretty simple, except for one thing. Marvel Cosmic Invasion takes heavy inspiration from Marvel vs. Capcom, in that there is a tag-in, tag-out system in the game, and I know, like, Marvel vs. Capcom is not the only game that does that, but it's Marvel, baby. You select two characters, and you can use the second character to switch to do combos, to help yourself if you are trapped, you know, or to do a giant super move. It's really fun. But what about the roster of characters, playable, that make the gameplay fun? There are a whopping 15 of them in Marvel Cosmic Invasion. And who said I can't go over each and every single one of them? You got your usual Marvel characters that you should probably expect in most Marvel games, such as Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man. Then you got some X-Men characters that you should also probably expect, like Wolverine, Storm, Phoenix. You got some other characters who I'd say became more popular in recent years, such as Black Panther and Rocket Raccoon. Then you got some comic book fan favorites, like, you know, you got Venom, She-Hulk, and Nova, the latter of which is a perfect fit for a game with a cosmic threat. And when it comes to cosmic characters, speaking of which, this is where we get to some deep cuts. I mean, Silver Surfer we got, who I wouldn't really call him a deep cut, like, at all. But Beta Ray Bill, again, not quite a deep cut, but I would not have predicted Beta Ray Bill for this game. But then we get Ghost Rider. No, not just any Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Frank Castle Ghost Rider. And then lastly, Phyla-Vell, a character who I'm not too familiar with. I don't even know if I've ever heard of her before this game. But every single character is a lot of fun. They each play a bit differently while still feeling similar enough to be coherent with one another. You got certain characters like Iron Man, Nova, Storm, Phoenix, Silver Surfer, and Phyla-Vell who can fly, which allows for a different solution to combat in some scenarios. You also got characters like Captain America, She-Hulk, Black Panther, Wolverine, and Venom, who I'd say are more like brawler type characters. And then characters like Spider-Man, Rocket Raccoon, Ghost Rider, and Beta Ray Bill. They are all either projectile heavy characters or really good long range. Plus, you know, some of those overlap. Like Iron Man doesn't just have to be a floater character, you know. He's also pretty projectile heavy, as you would assume. The fact of the matter is, though, is I found myself playing as every single character. Some I found more fun than others, but overall, you got 15 playable characters and they are all a lot of fun. But then there's also the levels in this game. Obviously, many Marvel locations such as the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, Asgard, which by the way looks fucking amazing, Wakanda is in this game, New York City, Genosha. You just know the people over at Tribute Games did their homework because they sure went crazy on the locations. My favorite visually is probably Asgard because, I mean, just look at it. Look how cool it looks. As for actually playing them, it's a cop-out, but they all slap. Which brings me to the aesthetic. Just like Tribute Games' other banger title under .mu, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, Marvel Cosmic Invasion nails the aesthetic of a 90s arcade beat-em-up. Which also brings me to the arcade nature of it. I almost just want to call Marvel Cosmic Invasion an arcade game, and it technically is genre-wise, but, you know, it's not actually in arcades. But if I didn't know any better, you could have fooled me. There's also the bosses. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but The bosses. I have some issues with them that I'll get into later, but the selection of bosses is really solid, and again, shows that they really did their homework with Marvel. Some of the bosses are some of the playable characters in the game that you unlock by beating them as, you know, in their boss fights. But you got characters like Taskmaster, MODOK, Hela, fucking Thanos, but then the lesser known characters and deep cuts like Claw, Sauron, Beetle, Null. They got Null in this game? That's awesome! The only thing that could have been better is maybe if you were able to play as these characters, but I feel like that's asking for a bit too much. Which brings me to the main villain, Annihilus. His whole thing is he's infecting the universe with some deadly insects that sort of brainwash characters with his mind control, which I'm going to do that to you if you don't subscribe. So the Watcher put together a team of heroes, and even some anti-heroes with like Venom and Ghost Rider, to stop Annihilus. It's simple, yet really cool. And in between each level is a cutscene with full voice acting, and it just has a lot of charm. The music slaps too, from the main theme to songs that play on certain levels like the Shield Helicarrier or Asgard, just goes super fucking hard. And lastly, there's a lot of bonus stuff in this game, stuff like the core files, which gives a little description and background on certain characters. I found that really cool. As for the things I'm mixed on, starting off with the difficulty. Now let me be clear, this is not me saying that the game is too hard, or even citing the difficulty as a negative. If I were to do that, I'd be mentioning it in the bad. The reason I'm mentioning it in the mixed, though, is because I don't find it to be an issue, but something that kinda caught me off guard, and maybe something you should be aware of. You see, Marvel Cosmic Invasion does not have difficulty settings. You don't select an easy mode if you want an easier time with the game, or a hard mode if you want more of a challenge. Instead, what this game opts to do is have the game start rather easy and get progressively more challenging as it continues. And that sort of caught me off guard. Not an issue, but it is worth noting. Another thing worth noting in a similar vein is the length of the game, as, yeah, Marvel Cosmic Invasion is very short. I don't see this as an issue, but you should be aware of this when you play it, and I'm mainly mentioning it because, well, I've mentioned this with many other games that are designed to be short, but more so here because I've seen many reviews criticize the game for being too short, saying stuff like, once it gets going, it's over, and I have to disagree. Not only do I feel the game establishes a pretty good pace early on, and mostly maintains that throughout the rest of the game, but I also feel like a short and sweet game like this, nothing wrong with that. Some of my other favorites from .emu, such as TMNT Shredder's Revenge, Streets of Rage 4, and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, were also all very short games that you could probably beat in one sitting, maybe two, but like in a single day. So I don't see the issue with Marvel Cosmic Invasion.
Annihilus's vermin has snuck on board. If you can clean this mess up, I'll take that big pooch off your hands. Listen, lady, Lockjaw's our friend. He's not going into a cage.
Moving on to the bad, this game does this weird thing where you enter a level, but before you do that, it tells you to select your character. You know, that's not the weird part. That's normal. That'd be pretty weird if I was saying that was weird. But the weird part is it highlights two characters in particular, kind of telling you to play as these two characters for this level, but sometimes those characters aren't best suited for the level you're about to play. I get why the game tells you to do this, because in the story, those two characters are in that, like, location, they're in that area, you know, fighting those enemies, so it just makes sense for the story. But it was annoying when the game was telling me to select Spider-Man and She-Hulk for a level where there are enemies flying around and tell me to select those two characters instead of any two of the many that can fly. And that's not that big of an issue because you don't have to select the characters that the game tells you to do. But then you can't complete certain challenges, which is something in the game that I never mentioned, so yeah, kind of a bummer. And the second issue I have is some boss fights. Most of them were great, but some of them were just stand here, dodge this attack. Okay, now stand here and dodge this attack, and then attack this part. Okay, stand here, now dodge. You get what I mean? I thought that was boring and a bit frustrating at times.
Your experiment is about to be drawn to its conclusion.
I've been here. Before the slug, Thanos has been outfitting Annihilus's armies through a negative zone portal of his own.
I know I mentioned a few issues, but they don't take away from the overall joy that is Marvel Cosmic Invasion. It is the whole retro style beat 'em up thing done at its best. Great selection of playable characters, fantastic music, great callbacks to Marvel characters and storylines, many of which are pretty obscure. Even Annihilus, the main villain, is a bit of a deep cut. And I never mentioned playing this game with friends, because it might just be an even better experience that way. Overall, Marvel Cosmic Invasion gets a 9.5 out of 10. So that's my review for Marvel Cosmic Invasion. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the game, not like the game? Have you guys played it, not played it? And if you haven't played it, do you guys want to play it, not want to play it? Anything about the game, let me know down below. Anyways, be sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, or I will infect you with deadly insects. Bye!